Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Everything Anything Podcast. This is a new podcast about stories, food, music, life, anything and everything that makes us think. Thank you for being here. You are already part of the family, and thank you for joining me in this adventure. Before I move forward, I just want to say thank you first to all of my friends, to some of my family members who subscribed, who followed the Instagram, TikTok, all of the pages of Everything Anything. Thank you. I really appreciate all of that. At first ayaw ko talaga sana i-post siya sa Instagram or any personal accounts of mine kasi I don't know. I take things too seriously to the point na I pressure myself and I put unnecessary pressure sa self ko or whatever I'm going through. So I don't want that sana. Pero sabi ko din, if I don't do it, YouTube, Instagram, all these sites will not know that my page exists. So, diba, we have to start somewhere. So thank you guys. I really appreciate your kind words, especially. May mga friends ako na from college na keeps on saying to me na good luck. I'm proud of you. I'm happy that you're pursuing your passion. I'm just really lucky to have you guys. I'm really thankful, especially to my friends from college and my peers, my classmates. I have a degree in communications that is related to media industry. So all of my friends from college know the effort that you put in producing something like this, and I'm just a one-man team. I'm doing it from end to end, from pre-prod to post-prod and everything in between. So thank you. I know that you all know how hard this is, but that this support, I will forever cherish. I will forever celebrate. And the small wins for me, I will always celebrate. So salamat. There's so much more work to do. We are here for the long run, so we just put the work in, and I'm just really, really enjoying the process right now. So salamat. This is an added fuel to my gears as I go through this for the long run. Thank you again. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. And, I just want to start this podcast, siguro, since we're talking about kindness and support. I want to start by reminding you guys that, a little spark of kindness, words like I'm proud of you, I'm happy that you're doing this, good luck, kamusta ka, these are not just words. These are powerful words. Kasi di mo alam, baka the person you're communicating to is going through something and you're probably already saving his life, his or her life, or their lives. So be kind. The world is divided. The country is divided. This is a divisive world. There is chaos. There's so many opinions around. But if you can share a little bit of kindness to the world, please do. We need more of that. So I hope this episode reminds you of that. So yeah, last episode, we talked about how it all started. And of course, I shared to you a book by Anthony Bourdain, a world travel and irreverent guide. And this episode, we continue with more inspiration. This time, we talk about women. Yes, we are still in Women's Month. So I want to dedicate this episode to all of my girls out there, to all the women who has been supportive in my life. I want to say happy Women's Month. I'm lucky to have you. I've been surrounded by amazing, empowered, caring women my whole life. Of course, my mom, my sister, many of my friends are women. Some of my closest friends are women. I think 75%, 80%, or even 90% of my mentors and professors are women. So this guy here is nothing without women. And of course, other than the private women that I have in my life that has inspired my whole life, I also have famous women I look up to. Women, especially in the movie industry. I love movies. I love the movie going experience. I love crying in the movies. I love watching 3 hour films in the cold theater. I remember I watched Oppenheimer alone and I watched it for 3 hours in the cold IMAX theater in Mega Mall. But I love it. I was awake the whole time. That's how much I love movies. I love actresses. My favorite actress of all time is Kate Blanchett. Um, and of course, Anne Hathaway, Sally Hawkins, Octavia Spencer, Viola Davis. I love so many actresses. Amy Adams. Ang dami amazing actresses that I love. But also, more than these women in front of the screen, I also love directors. I love the people behind the scenes, especially the new women directors like Celine Song, Coralie Farja from The Substance. Of course, Celine Song is from Past Lives. She wrote and directed Past Lives. And of course, Coralie Farja from The Substance, my favorite movie of last year. Yeah. And of course, many like Greta Gerwig, who made Barbie and so many amazing films. There's so many talented artists that are women out there in the movie industry, and I'm lucky that I get to experience their passion, their heart, and their love for being an artist and their love for the work. And speaking about actress, there are 3 women women actors who recently became like my biggest inspiration. When I say inspiration, when I'm down, I look for their speeches online. I will search it on YouTube, on TikTok, and I will listen to their words, not just speeches, but interviews, and many more. I would listen to their words when I feel down. I would listen to their wisdom. And I feel like their words are universal. And I'm inspired and touched, not because I'm a woman, but because I'm human. But more than being a human, I'm also an artist who love being a creative just like them. So I just want to remind everybody, to those who think that Oscar speeches don't matter, I love the Oscars, by the way. Grammy speeches don't matter, Emmy speeches don't matter. They do matter. Because I just, like a person like me, I find wisdom and inspiration from the words of the people I look up to. So they do matter. Yes, speeches online, speeches anywhere matter, especially if you're a public figure. Yes. So I'm talking about these 3 women in the movie industry, and they are Jamie Lee Curtis, Michelle Yeoh, and of course, The Substance, Demi Moore. Yes, they are not actresses from my generation. They are women who are more advanced in age, and women who probably have careers before I was even born. Jamie is 66. Michelle and Demi are 62. And they are very experienced women. And of course, with experience come knowledge and wisdom. And I'm just very inspired by them. They remind me of the power of hope. They remind me of the power of possibilities. And they remind me that really how beautiful having dreams are and the possibility of those dreams to come true. And when I was writing this episode, I realized this is really fitting to talk about in a Women's Month episode or in an episode that I talk about women. It's because these women are not just successful, not just because they are winners. 2 of them are Oscar winner and Demi is a nominee. But I realize, again, as I go deeper into writing this episode, I realize that these women, these 3 of them, represent different types of women in the world. One represents the vocal, fierce women who are never afraid to speak up. Another one has that calm elegance, but has that inner strength in her. And then the other one is the type of women who are misunderstood but are breaking those stereotypes, that is told of her because of her looks, because of her body. among others. So yes, let's go deeper into these three women and learn more and learn about their life and their stories. So of course, let's start with Jamie Lee Curtis. For me, Jamie Lee Curtis represents the vocal women, women in power, never afraid to speak up and stand up for what they believe is right. And what I love most about Jamie, as I know her more in the movies that she's creating and her social media, among others, this woman is really dedicating her life and her art for other people. Jamie knows how and why it is important to lift other women up. And when she was given a chance to lift other women up, especially during Everything Ever All at Once, where she was working with Michelle Yeoh, she never stopped talking about Michelle Yeoh when she had the opportunity. Even to Pamela Anderson, they did The Last Showgirl recently last year. And when she had an opportunity to talk about the amazing Pamela Anderson, she talks about her with kindness, with love, with joy. And really, again, Jamie is a type of woman who knows how and why it is important to lift other women up. And even her social media accounts, she dedicates her social media accounts to the causes that she fights for, to other women, lifting other women up. She even talked about Mikey Madison. She really is a selfless woman who dedicates her life and her art to other women, in supporting other women and supporting other causes and supporting the humanity as a whole. And what I love most about Jamie Lee is she's a big trans advocate because of her daughter. Yes, Jamie has a trans daughter named Ruby. And what I love most about Jamie is she shares the story of Ruby with a lot of pride, loudly, proudly, and she even shares that she keeps on learning through her daughter's experiences. And what a beautiful life would that be, to have a woman like Jamie, who is your mom, who's vocal, and most importantly, who's not just listening to you but understanding you and really going with you throughout this whole process of you discovering yourself. And it's amazing to have women who are not from this generation to be able to adapt to the changes in knowledge, to this changes to new understanding about sexuality, about self-expression. And Jamie is an example that anyone can have openness if they allow it. And of course, Jamie Lee's Oscar speech is, for me, my most favorite Oscar speech of all time. And even in her Oscar speech, she dedicated it to other people. And she keeps on saying we. She thanked her family. She thanked the Everywhere All at Once cast and crew. Ang dami niyang pinathankyuhan, but she keeps on saying we just won an Oscar together. And I think my favorite line was when Jamie, and I will read it here in my guide, and she said, "To all the people who supported the genre movies I made for all these years, the hundreds and thousands of people, we just won an Oscar together." And I remember I was in my micro studio in Manila. I was watching the Oscars of 2023. Yes, in my small phone. And when I heard those words, I was in tears because I love Jamie. I love Halloween. I'm a big slasher lover when I was young. And I love Freaky Friday. And even You Again, the movie with Christine Bell, she's also part of it. And I was just like, oh my God, what a moment for Jamie. I know others have a different opinion, but for this one, we celebrate her win, and I don't care about those opinions. I really do not. And of course, for me, she is a deserving winner, a deserving win and flowers to a hardworking and more than just a hardworking actress, an amazing woman. Next, we move on to our dear Asian Slasian Slasian girl in Hollywood, Michelle Yeoh. For me, Michelle is the calmer woman, the more quiet women, but with inner strength radiating from inside. But more than that, she represented in her recent roles, she represented different types of Asian mothers. Of course, before Everything Everywhere All at Once, where she won her Oscar, I knew about her from Crazy Rich Asians. I love her character. Her and Astrid are my favorite characters in Crazy Rich Asians. And thinking about it, most of us would think that she is like the villain mother in the Crazy Rich Asian movie. But if you dig deeper, you will understand what that woman was fighting for. This is a very, a lot, Asian culture is always rooted on traditions of our ancestors. And that woman, Michelle Yeoh's character, just values her grandparents, her ancestors who gave her the life that she has at that time. People who worked hard to achieve what they had in that movie. And of course, but at the end of the day, it's always about meeting halfway with her son, which is Henry Golden's character. And really, it's really about, at the end of the day, learning how to blend the past and the future, which I think they were able to do on in the movie. And yes, and of course, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Michelle represented all the hardworking Asian moms who are dedicating themselves, doing their best to make ends meet. If you strip off all of the wonderful editing and cinematography and just artistic things that they did for Everything Everywhere All at Once, you realize that that movie is about finding kindness. It's about finding the meaning of life today. And of course, Michelle won her Oscar for that. And every time I call her Slasian from RuPaul's Drag Race, but I call her Slasian because she never stopped talking about Asian in the international stage. And for those who are not into the Oscar, just a little background or history. Michelle is the first Asian winner in almost 100 years of the Oscar, and just the only second woman of color to win a leading role in almost 100 years. And there's only two colored women who won an Oscar for the leading role, which is her and Halle Berry. And the distance between that, that's why it is important that if you are given an opportunity like Michelle, and she did it, to speak about Asia, it is important because number one, it allows conversations. But more than conversations, these words open up opportunities for Asian talents to be seen in the international stage. And Michelle Yeoh, Kiwei Kwan, Stephanie Hsu, Daniel Kwan, Celine Song, Bong Joon-ho, they're just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to talent in Asia. There is so much talent in Asia, so much talent in my country, the Philippines, and these talents, these artists deserve to be seen in the international stage. But for now, we celebrate these people for opening up, but most importantly, continuing the conversation about the existence of talents in Asia. And of course, here we go, Demi Moore. For me, Demi represents the women who are misunderstood. Women who are oftentimes labeled to be a certain way. Women who are boxed in stereotypes because she's beautiful, because she has the body. There was a point, it's crazy because when I was reading about her life, there was a point in Hollywood that was so unfair for women, and Demi experienced that. And Hollywood at some point doesn't want women to be beautiful and successful, especially successful. And the thing is, there was a point again in Hollywood where Demi was earning so much. She is a famous star. But again, Hollywood doesn't allow women like Demi to be paid equal to her male leads. Yes, again, she was earning, she was a box office successful actress. But she was portrayed in the media as greedy. They call her Greedy Moore. She was hated to the point where she questions her career in Hollywood. And she even told in many of her interviews that she felt like her success is not driving her anymore at some point of her successful career. And then she decided to step out of the spotlight and focus in her family and raising her daughters. Then, years after, then came The Substance. What I feel like is an amazing story that also has a little bit of relevance to her past self. And what courage and bravery Demi has for allowing those camera lenses to zoom in parts of her that are hidden and be like stripped off, literally, or like be stripped off of everything that is physically beautiful about her, and really seeing her true raw self and focusing on everything that this crazy unfair world and society standards to be considered unattractive, focus in all of what the society considers unattractive and unappealing to women who are aging. She did that to tell a relevant, compelling story. This why, to me, The Substance, again, is one of those movies that made me believe that why movies are made, to tell bold, important message for the world to see, like The Substance. And I want to talk more about The Substance. I want to talk about Demi Moore, Coralie Farja. But here's to all the substance out there. We will have a separate The Substance episode we'll talk about Demi Moore. We're talking about the creative things that Coralie Farja, creative choices she did for The Substance on another episode. Not next episode, but another episode soon. So what about you? Who are your favorite actors? Who are your biggest inspirations? Or more than favorite actress, who are the women in different fields who are your biggest inspiration? So before I end, these three women are examples that as humans, age is just a number. As long as our hearts are beating and we can still walk and do and move, and our blood is still pumping, we never stop chasing. So yes, if you're still young at your 30s, 25 like me, or your 30s, or 40s, or 50s, it doesn't matter what your age is. When you're done with a goal, for sure, you will find a new goal to achieve. So just keep on chasing. And forever, these women will remind me of the power, again, of hope, of possibilities, of dreaming, and of course, of not stopping to chase in this life. On the next episode, I will talk about another movie, Snow White. Is it really that bad? We'll find out on the next episode. I will go to the cinema this weekend, so let's see. I will watch it. It's a very controversial Snow White. It's a very controversial film, but let's see, and I will talk to you about that on the next episode. Again, guys, thank you so much for being here. Please follow us or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Everything Anything Online. Also follow us, Everything Anything Online, on IG. Again, thank you so much for listening or watching. You are part of the family now. You are part of the adventure. And I will talk to you on the next one. Bye. Oops. Bye bye. Thank you.